So, tonight and tomorrow night, we have a special seminar, Sraddha to Prema, the path to spiritual perfection. This is according to the teachings of Srila Rupa Goswami, the author of Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is translated in a summary study form by Srila Prabhupada as the Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada describes in detail the Sraddha to Prema verse in a purport that he wrote for the book known as Narada Bhakti Sutra. So tonight we'll begin our study by studying this lecture of Prabhupada, that verse and the purport of Prabhupada, as Prabhupada describes, this wonderful, wonderful pathway, just like a blossoming lotus flower, from Shraddha to Prema. This is the translation and purport to Narada Bhakti Sutra, chapter 1, text number 2. First we will chant for auspiciousness. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Svatvasmin Parama Prema Rupa. Translation. Devotional service manifests as the most elevated, pure love for God. Purport by Prabhupada. As stated before, after attaining the highest stage of self-realization, one becomes situated in devotional service to the Lord. The perfection of devotional service is to attain love of God. Love of God involves the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the devotee, and the process of devotional service. Self-realization, the Brahmabhuta stage, is the beginning of spiritual life. It is not the perfectional stage. If a person understands that he is not his body, that he has nothing to do with this material world, he becomes free from material entanglement, but that realization is not the perfectional stage. This perfectional stage begins with activity in the self-realized position. And that activity is based on the understanding that a living entity is eternally the subordinate servitor of the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, there's no meaning to self-realization. If one is puffed up with the idea that he is the Supreme Brahman, or that he has become one with Narayan, or that he has merged into the Brahma-Jyoti effulgence, then he has not grasped the perfection of life. As Srimad Bhagavatam 10:2-32 states, Yene Ravindaksha Vimukta Maninas Tvayastabhavadda Vishuddha Buddhaya Aruhya Krishchena Parangpadam Tatha Patant Yado Nadrita Yushmadangriya. Persons who are falsely puffed up, thinking that they have become liberated simply by understanding their constitutional position as a Brahman or spirit soul, are factually still contaminated. Their intelligence is impure because they have no understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and ultimately they fall down from their puffed up position. According to the Bhagavatam 1-11, there are 3 levels of transcendentalists. The self-realized knowers of the impersonal Brahman feature, the absolute truth. The knowers of the Paramatma, the localized aspect of the Supreme, which is understood by the process of mystic yoga, and the bhaktas, who are in knowledge of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and engage in his devotional service. Those who understand simply that the living being is not matter but spirit soul, and who desire to merge into the Supreme Spirit soul, are in the lowest transcendental position. Above them are the mystic yogis who, by meditation, see within their hearts the four-handed Vishnu form of the Paramatma or Super Soul. But persons who actually associate with the Supreme Lord Krishna are the highest among all the transcendentalists. In the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita 647, the Lord confirms this: Yoginam api sarvesham mangatena taratmana shadhavan bhajate yomam samayukta tamo mataha. And of all yogis, the one with great faith who always abides in me thinks of me within himself and renders transcendental loving service to me. He is the most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. This is the highest perfectional stage, known as Prema, or love of God. In the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1, 4, 15 and 16, Srila Rupa Goswami, a great authority in the devotional line, describes the different stages in coming to the point of love of Godhead. Adashadha tata sadhu sangota bhajana kriya tato narta navrittisya tato nishtavruchistataha tata saktis tato bhavas tata prema bhujanjati sadakanangayam prema pradurbhave bhavet kramaha. The first requirement is that one should have sufficient faith that the only process for attaining love of Godhead is bhakti, devotional service to the Lord. Throughout the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord teaches that one should give up all other processes of self-realization and fully surrender to Him. That is faith. One who has full faith in Krishna, Sraddha, and surrenders unto Him is eligible for being raised to the level of Prema, which Lord Chaitanya taught us as the highest perfectional stage of life. So we'll now, throughout the rest of the purport, we will read a little bit and we will discuss, and then we will read a little bit more and discuss. As Prabhupada goes through all these levels. So the very first level is Shraddha, faith. If you don't have faith in this process as the sole means of spiritual emancipation, you will not be able to put the necessary focus, necessary concentration, necessary intensity to get the desired result. So the very first thing you have to do is to understand this is the process for coming to the perfectional stage of spiritual life. It's not that you can mix a little of this, a little of that, and come up with your new formula for self-realization. You have to take the system given by the great acharyas. This is stated, Mahajano yena gatasapantha. One must follow the pathway chalked out by the great acharyas. So this pathway is the pure bhakti pathway. This is given by the acharyas. So one has to have faith in that principle. And that's why Krishna says, give all other concepts of self-realization and just surrender to me, period. So one has to understand, this is it. This process gives me everything. Attaining Krishna consciousness or Krishna bhakti brings all perfections. That is stated in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastrikai, Sadhu Sangha, Lava Mantra, Sarva Siddhi Hai. By associating with sadhus, even for one moment, you can achieve all perfection. So what do you get when you associate with sadhus? Who are the sadhus? They are the devotees. And that is the next step in the pathway. Once you have faith in this process, then you will think, oh, then let me associate with those who are on this pathway. anything that you want to become successful in, you should associate with practitioners of that thing. If you want to be an expert surfer, whether you do, you associate with surfers. When you're an expert guitar player, you associate with guitar players. Whatever you want to become good at, you associate with experts in that field. And that way, by their association, you get the inspiration, the guidance, the directions, how you can also achieve that perfection, of that talent. So therefore, the second step is sadhu sangha. And then Prabhupada continues here in his purport. The next stage is the process the next stage in the process of elevation to love of God is sadhu sangha, association with persons already in the highest stage of love of God. One who avoids such association and simply engages in mental speculation or so-called meditation cannot be raised to the perfectional platform. But one who associates with pure devotees or an elevated devotional society. Prabhupada has given us that elevated devotional society. That's ISKCON. So by associating with pure devotees or an elevated devotional society, in this case ISKCON, and one can go to the next stage. Prabhupada says, bhajana kriya, or acceptance of the regulative principles of worshipping the Supreme Lord. One who associates with the pure devotee of the Lord naturally accepts that person as his spiritual master. And when the neophyte devotee accepts a pure devotee as his spiritual master, the duty of the spiritual master is to train the neophyte in the principles of regulated devotional service, or Vaidhi Bhakti. At this stage, the devotee's service is based on his capacity to serve the Lord. The expert spiritual master engages his followers in work that will gradually develop their consciousness of service to the Lord. Therefore, the preliminary stage of understanding Prema, love of God, is to approach a proper pure devotee, accept him as one's spiritual master, and execute regulated devotional service under his guidance. So one has faith in the process, one associates with the devotees, and then you see, how did the devotees do this? How do they become perfect? One who is very serious to perfect this process, and he takes a spiritual master, he takes diksha, initiation. And that means he executes the regulated principles of devotional service under the guidance and direction of his spiritual master. So by that process, then he becomes elevated to the next stage. The importance of Guru cannot be overstated, because you can't get Prema without Guru. You see, Guru means the third step, bhajana kriya. If you don't want Guru, then you remain in the second step, and there's all these stages: Sraddha, sadhu sangha, Prema, and bhajana, anartana bhajana. There's sadhu sangha, bhajana kriya, anartana vritti, nishtha, ruchi, asakta, bhava, and prema. There's 9 stages. So you think, well, I will do this, but I don't want a spiritual master. Then you got 7 stages you're not going to achieve. You'll stay in the sadhu sangha level. You won't be able to get the higher 9 levels and go all the way to the perfectional stage. So Guru is essential. You must have a spiritual master. The neophyte devotee, he must accept the pure devotee as his spiritual master, and then execute the principles of regulated devotional service, Vaidhi Bhakti, under the guidance of the spiritual master. Prabhupada continues. He says, the next stage is called anartha nivritti, in which all the misgivings of material life are vanquished. A person gradually reaches this stage by regularly performing the primary principles of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master. There are many bad habits we acquire in the association of material contamination, chief of which are illicit sexual relationships, eating animal food, indulging in intoxication, and gambling. The first thing the expert spiritual master does when he engages his disciple in regulated devotional service is to instruct them to abstain from these poor principles of sinful life. So the question is, if you've given up illicit sex, meeting, intoxication, and gambling, that means you've achieved anartha nivritti? Partially, but not completely. Because otherwise, why would Prabhupada say a person gradually reaches this stage by regularly performing the primary principles of devotional service? So the primary principles we know in our society is to chant 16 rounds of Japamala and to avoid these 4 sinful activities. So that's the beginning of anartha nivritti, but it's not a full anartha nivritti to give up these 4 bad habits. It means there's all kinds of subtle dirts in there. Pride, you see, envy, all kinds of crud in there we've accumulated for millions and millions of lifetimes. Lusty desires, angry desires, greedy desires, envious desires, lazy desires, you see, illusioned desires, so much crud we've accumulated for millions and millions of lifetimes. These are called anarthas. So nivritti means to become free from them. You see. So by that execution of Vaidhi Bhakti, means devotion according to regulated principles. Don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, do this, do that, do this, do that. It's the do's and the don'ts. Now is that the purpose of Krishna consciousness, to follow rules and regulations? No. None. It's like you go to a hospital, you're sick, and they put you on a restricted diet. Is the purpose of going to the hospital to eat a restricted diet? No. The purpose of going to the hospital is to become healthy. Not that I think I'd like to be on a restricted diet, so I'm going to go to the hospital. No. I think I'd like to get well, so I'm going to the hospital. So all these rules and regulations, they are not an end in themselves, they're simply a means to the end. What is the name of our society? The International Society for Krishna Consciousness. I don't believe it's called the International Society for Rules and Regulations, is it? No. Not the International Society for Rules and Regulations. Rupa Goswami warns us, if you're too much into rules and regulations, you don't understand the purpose behind them, that's called niyam agraha, and it will cause you to fall down from Krishna consciousness. And also, it also means if you're too neglectful of rules and regulations, thinking, I don't need all these rules. I'm here in the hospital, the doctor said I can't have ice cream and cake right now. I'm going to have my friend sneak me some ice cream and cake while I'm lying in the hospital bed. Well, guess what? You don't get well. You don't follow the diet. So you have to, don't be too attached to rules, no, don't be too neglectful of the rules, you see. But you must follow the rules under the guidance of the spiritual master. Because by doing that, you gradually achieve the stage known as anartha nivritti, when this dirt is cleaned out. And the next stage after anartha nivritti is called nishtha, which means you become a fixed up devotee. In the nishtha stage, you become completely free from you're solidly situated in the material mode of goodness, you see. Now you're a paka brahmana, real brahmana, you see, the nishtha stage, a genuine brahman. He's the one who's actually a brahman in the real sense of the term, is on the nishtha stage. He's become free from the influence of passion and ignorance, for the most part. He's situated perfectly in the material mode of goodness. Now we'll continue here. Since God is supremely pure, one cannot rise to the highest perfectional stage of love of God without being purified. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:12, when Arjuna accepted Krishna as the Supreme Lord, he said, Pavitram Paramam Bhavan, you are the purest of the pure. The Lord is the purest, and thus anyone who wants to serve the Supreme Lord must also be pure. Unless a person is pure, he can neither understand what the personality of Godhead is, or engage in his service in love. For devotional service, as stated before, begins from the point of self-realization, when all misgivings of materialistic life are vanquished. This is an interesting point that Prabhupada's making here. You can do service, but Prabhupada says engage in his service in love. So you could do service begrudgingly. Well, I don't really want to do this, Prabhu, but you're forcing me to do it, so I have to do it. Pressuring me to do it. I don't want to do it, but I'm doing it anyway. Washing these pots. I'm not doing it in love. How much do you think you'll advance by doing devotional service begrudgingly? Is it? We have to do everything with love. Whatever service we're asked to do by Guru or by Vaishnava, you see, we should do it with love. But Krishna has so kindly given me this opportunity. I remember many years ago when I was a young brahmachari, I was traveling with His Holiness Vishnu Jana Swami on it was called the Traveling Roadshow. We had a wonderful program with 3 school buses, of a temple bus, kitchen bus, equipment bus. We were doing transcendental rock operas in different places, in university campuses. And we were worshipping the deities also, Radha Damodar. We had a very advanced pujari, and she was the original fully trained up pujari in our movement, Mother Shalavati. And she gave the most wonderful class one time. I never forgot Shalavati's point. She said, you should take any service that you're doing and do it in such a way that you can do that service for all of eternity. You see? Okay, I'm supposed to wash the pots now. Let me do it with such feeling, with such love, that I could just do this one activity for all of eternity and just go deeper and deeper into bhakti rasa, you see, when I'm doing this activity. So this is the way, you see. Any devotional activity that you're doing, do it with such feeling and such love that you could go, you can relish it and go deeper and deeper into that activity for all of eternity. This is one of the insider secrets of how to advance quickly on the pathway back to home, back to Godhead. It's called rasa, or taste, or ruchi, you see. Try to learn how to do things with Krishna, with taste, with feeling, with love. And then your bliss will know no bounds. So, then, as we continue, Prabhupada continues now. He says, after following the regulative principles and purifying the material senses, one attains the stage of nishtha, firm faith in the Lord. When a person has attained this stage, no one can deviate him from the conception of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. No one can persuade him that God is impersonal, without a form, or that any form created by imagination can be accepted as God. Those who espouse these more or less nonsensical conceptions of the Supreme cannot dissuade him from firm faith in the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna. So there was faith in the beginning, remember? But that faith is not firm faith. It's not completely firm. When that faith becomes pakka, solid faith, that's the nishtha stage. So that means you have enough faith to take up the process, and that's great. We welcome you. But Prabhupada pointed out to us that our faith was not really that strong. He told us in Los Angeles, he said Krishna lived at Govardhan Hill, and you were thinking, maybe. So that we had faith to surrender to Prabhupada, even take initiation, that Prabhupada was pointing out that we weren't at the Nishta stage yet, you see. You're not Nishta Bhaktas, because you still have doubts that Krishna lived at Govardhan Hill. So we will say, oh yeah, I believe that Krishna lived at Govardhan Hill, I sure do. But then honestly look at your mind during the day and see observe your own mind. You can learn to see where you're at spiritually. Observe your own thoughts about all these points in the philosophy. You know, are you absolutely convinced God is a little blue cowherd boy? that plays a flute and wears a peacock feather in his hair and wears a yellow dhoti, that all the universes are emanating from his transcendental body at every minute. Are you fully convinced of that? You see? So, theoretically, of course, but practically speaking, is our mind always locked into that vision, or is it sometimes wavering a little bit, you see? So in this way we can see the subtleties of this pathway of advancement. And this science, as given by Rupa Goswami, of Sraddha Prema, is very helpful. Because then you can understand how to keep, once you understand this process and how it works, and you can gauge where you're at along this continuum from Sraddha to Prema, then you can keep, when you see you're going to get off the path, you can see you're veering off, then you yourself can get yourself back on the path. You see. When you have enough understanding of this process, when you know you're getting off, you don't have someone to tell you, Prabhu, I think you're getting off. When you have enough intelligence of this process that you can see when you're getting off, even in subtle ways within your mind, then you can become very powerful, you see, in Krishna consciousness. That's how you become very solid in Krishna consciousness. When you have enough realization of this system, this process, that you can see when you're getting off the track and get yourself back on the track, you see. So that's why this seminar is very important, because it can help you to develop your own introspective power, you see, to understand your position and how you can keep yourself on track. Prabhupada continues. In the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna stresses in many verses that he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But despite Lord Krishna stressing this point, many so-called scholars and commentators still deny the personal conception of God. One famous scholar wrote in his commentary on the Bhagavad Gita that one does not have to surrender to the Lord Krishna or even accept him as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but that one should rather surrender to the Supreme within Krishna. Anybody knows who that commentator is? Dr. Radha Krishnan, the former president of India. He wrote a commentary on the Gita, which is a very popular commentary. And a completely bogus commentary, but it's very popular. Okay. It's not to Krishna that you have to surrender. To the unborn that's within Krishna, it's within you, within me, within the dog, within everyone, you see. That is to what you surrender, not to the person Krishna. That's what he had the audacity to say. Completely twisting and perverting the words of Krishna. So Prabhupada continues, such fools do not know what is within and what is without. They comment on the Bhagavad Gita according to their own whims. Such persons cannot be elevated to the highest stage of love of Godhead. They may be scholarly and they may be elevated in other departments of knowledge, but they are not even neophytes in the process of attaining the highest stage of perfection, love of Godhead. Nishtha implies that one should accept the words of Bhagavad Gita, the words of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as they are, without any deviation or nonsensical commentary. If a person is fortunate enough to vanquish all misgivings caused by material existence and rise up to the stage of nishtha, he can then rise to the stages of ruchi, taste, and asakti, attachment for the Lord. So these are very nice stages. If you finally made it to nishtha, you're firmly situated now. You're solidly situated. There's no flinching of your consciousness away from firm faith, not even the slightest flinching away from firm faith, that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, that you're the eternal servant. Now you're a nishtha bhakta, you see. The next stage is, now it becomes so sweet. This is called ruchi stage. They're so sweet, it's so nectarian. Every aspect That Krishna consciousness is sweeter than the sweetest honey. It doesn't matter what it is, you see. You may be asked, some devotees, they really like to give lectures, like I have a taste for giving lectures. I love giving lectures. I travel all over the world giving lectures about Krishna. That's what all I do, is I'm a traveling lecturer. I circle the globe twice a year, and I relish it like anything. Wow, sitting at another lecture tour, Ki Jai. I love it. But the Ruchi stage means anything, whether you're giving a lecture or hearing the lecture, whether you're honoring prasadam or you're cutting the vegetables, it's all nectar, you see, in the Ruchi stage. Every single aspect of bhakti is oozing with unlimited oceans of nectar. So it's a very enviable position to get to, the end of the Ruchi stage. But you're always relishing the nectar. You're always in bliss 24 hours a day, no matter what happens. You're relishing the nectar of Krishna consciousness. This is the Ruchi stage. And then the next stage after that, the obvious thing is if you're tasting so much nectar, relishing the sweet nectarian juice of Krishna bhakti at every minute, no matter what service you're doing, whether the kirtan is in tune or out of tune, it doesn't matter for the Ruchi bhakta. Just the fact it's the name sung with a pure mood, even if the kirtan leader doesn't even know how to carry a tune, or even if the harmonium is falling apart. It's sweet, it's nectar, you see. The external things don't matter. When one achieves solid ruchi, the externals don't matter, you see. It's that connection with Krishna that gives unlimited sweetness. So what's the natural result? If you're getting so much nectar with something, what do you think would happen? You don't have ruchi. You know why you don't have ruchi? Because you're playing with binoculars. You're not getting any taste from hearing this lecture. You don't have ruchi yet. So I would advise you, Prabhu, to leave it. You can play with the binoculars after the lecture. I advise you to hear carefully this lecture, because then you can get much more taste from hearing about ruchi than from spinning those binoculars. Is that okay? Thank you very much. You're not angry at me, are you? Okay. I don't want you to get angry and cry and walk out or something like that. But the fact is that we need to learn how to hear. We need to learn how to when we come to a lecture, put everything aside and hear. From the very childhood, instead of giving your kid a coloring book during the lecture, put him in your lap and teach him to hear the lectures. Because then once they get a taste for hearing about Krishna, then they can progress very quickly and easily to the ruchi stage. But as a result of ruchi, then you really get the super prize of all, and that's the asakti stage. The asakti stage is very, very advanced stage, when you can actually realize your svarup. That's very advanced. We can't really talk much about that. But that's when you actually realize what is your eternal rasa with Krishna in the spiritual sky. That's not some cheap thing that you can jump to. But that actually in the asakti stage, that comes. That's a very exalted stage, the asakti stage. You're completely attached to Krishna, and then you become attached to serving Krishna in a certain way according to your eternal rasa with Krishna. Now don't try to jump to that artificially. Well, I think I'd like to jump to asakti right now, so let me imagine, I'm a gopi, or I'm a gopa, or this or that. Don't do that. You see. That's called sahajism. Prabhupada actually told us we have sahajas in ISKCON. So sometimes devotees may preach some philosophy and you have to, jump to spontaneous love immediately, forget all these rules and regulations. Just jump to spontaneous love. Don't take their teaching, because that's sahaja philosophy. Prabhupada warned us again. We actually had a group in Los Angeles at one time called the Gopi Bhava Club. They wanted to jump immediately to Gopi Bhava. They would get together and talk about the intimate pastime of Krishna kissing the gopis and just relish the kisses, thinking about all the kisses and the hugging with Krishna. and as gopis. And Prabhupada was furious when he heard. He immediately disbanded their nonsense Sahaja club. So we have to faithfully execute the principles of sadhana bhakti under the guidance of the spiritual master. And by doing that, then we become completely free from all the dirt. And then naturally, in that high stage, called the Sakti stage, can we realize these realizations will come. So don't jump artificially, try to jump artificially. Go step by step, carefully through this process. And then you will achieve the desired result. So let's see, where did we leave off here? Yes. He can then rise to the stages of ruchi, taste, and the sakti, attachment for the Lord. The sakti is the beginning of love of Godhead. By progressing, one then advances to the stage of relishing a reciprocal exchange with the Lord in ecstasy, bhava. That means you're actually now situated. In the bhava stage, you actually become situated in your rasa with Krishna. It begins to awaken. It's a particular relationship with the Supreme. Every living entity is eternally related to the Supreme Lord, and this relationship may be in any one of many transcendental humors. There's 5 of those. There's Shantaras, neutrality, there's Dasharas, servitorship, there's friendship, Sakyaras, and there's parental Vatsalya, and there's conjugal Madhurya. So every living entity has a particular relationship with Krishna in one of these 5 rasas. So in the bhava stage, you actually now are again relating to Krishna in your rasa with him, whatever that eternal rasa is. You understand what your relationship. At the stage of the sakti attachment, a person can understand his relationship with the Supreme. When he understands his position, he begins to reciprocate with the Lord. For this constant reciprocation with the Lord, the devotee is elevated to the highest stage of love of God, Prema. So that gives us an overview of this wonderful, wonderful progressive system from Sraddha to Prema. Now, were they instructed to write their questions down on a piece of paper? Or not? Tell me yes or no.
Yes.
Yes, they were. Okay, so is there any questions? Can pass them forward now. Okay, here comes 1 or 2. Okay, the first question, do you have to be initiated to go back to God? Why? Well, Prabhupada was asked this, and he said, yes, you do have to be initiated. Now, there are cases of people who did not get initiated and didn't go back to Godhead. But those are exceptions to the rules. Do you have to go to college to get a degree? It's like saying, this question is like saying, do you have to attend the university to get a college degree? The answer is not absolutely, because people do get honorary degrees sometimes. But if you want a degree, are you going to sit around and wait for your honorary degree? What are your odds of getting one? Well, I think I'd like to get an honorary degree from Oxford. I think that'd be really prestigious, you know. I'm just going to smoke marijuana, I'm going to surf, have a great time, and just wait for my honorary degree from Oxford to show up, honorary PhD from Oxford. What are your chances of getting it, you see? Do you want the degree from Oxford? Then you better enroll. So, there are cases of people who became liberated without initiation, but they're like honorary degrees, they're exceptions to the rule. So the rule is you must be initiated to go back to God. And Prabhupada said you must be. He said it in a question and answer. It's also mentioned in his books, in the Nectar Devotion, that Krishna will not accept your service unless you're initiated. Of course, he will accept your service also if you're getting ready for initiation. But to be fully accepted by Krishna as his devotee, as he confirms in the Adi Purana, unless you're the devotee of my devotee, you're not my devotee. So to be fully accepted as a devotee, you must become a devotee of the devotee, and that means guru. You must have guru. What are the three worlds that are mentioned in the Krishna book? There's the upper planetary system, the middle planetary system, and the lower planetary system. Those are the three worlds in the material world. What do we do with old broken neck beads? Well, Prabhupada had his old Brahman thread he wanted to replace with a new one. He had his disciple cut it to pieces and bury it. So you can take your old neck beads, you can scatter, put them out in the woods, or don't put them in a garbage can, obviously. Put them somewhere where they can be recycled back into the earth very nicely. It'd be good to just unstring them and put them out in the forest or something like that. Put them in a river, somewhere where they can merge back into the earth. That would be a respectful way to dispose of broken neck beads. Okay, if Krishna already loves us, why do we need to attain his love? No, you don't have to attain his love. You have to develop your love for him. Krishna is already loving you unlimitedly at every minute. It's not that you have to get Krishna to love you. Bhakti yoga is not a process of getting Krishna to love you. It's a process of you getting to love him. In other words, we don't reciprocate with Krishna. He is bestowing unlimited love upon us at every minute, but we are not taking that and reciprocating with that. So this process of Bhakti Yoga is a process of learning how to reciprocate with the unlimited love of Krishna. Why do you need a guru? Why do I need a guru? Because I'm a rascal, that's why I need a guru. Great rascal. Prabhupada has saved me from being a rascal. You should have seen me 42 years ago, when I was a hippie songwriter. I was really a scoundrel, let me tell you. I really needed a guru desperately. But and Prabhupada saved me from my scoundrel ways and taught me how to become a saintly teacher, how to become also a guru. So we're all scoundrels in various ways, and that's why we need guru. We're scoundrels. Is there any chance of falling down at the bhava stage? Yes. Until you get to Prema, there's always that slight chance, and there are examples of that. There's a famous devotee, his name is Bilva Mangala Thakur. You may have heard of him, he's a great Vaishnava. In his previous life, Prabhupada explained he had achieved the bhava stage. But somehow or other, by bad association, he fell down and became a prostitute on him. But that prostitute preached to him and brought him back to his senses. Chintamani, her name. You know that story? Amazing story. Wow. It was a dark, stormy night. The thunder and the lightning. The river, the little creek that separated his house from Chintamani's house was now a huge, swollen river. And it was a dark night, the lightning and the thunder, but he was so lusty. I must enjoy with Chintamani tonight. No matter what I have to do, I have to go. So he went down to the creek, which is now a big swollen river. How am I going to cross this creek in the dark? He said, well, I'll just grab a log and float across. He grabbed something. It was a corpse, a dead corpse. He floated on a dead corpse to get across the river to Chintamani's house. When he got there, the gate was locked. He was banging and banging, but the thunder was so loud she couldn't hear the banging. And he was thinking, how am I going to get over? I had to climb over the wall to get to Chintamani. He was going crazy with lust. And he grabbed something. He grabbed a snake to get over that wall, you see. Such horrible, gross things he went to. Finally he got with Chintamani. And he told her, I'm lust. I want to enjoy with you. And this is what I did to come tonight. She said, Biva Mangala, you're crazy. For this flesh and blood, you went through all of that? If you had so much devotion to Krishna, you'd be a pure devotee. What are you doing? Coming after this body like this, so crazy after this body. And he came to his senses, yes, I must give up everything, become a devotee. I will go to Vrindavan. But along the way, that tendency again overtook him. It was a very beautiful Shudra woman. Actually, he was born in a Brahmin family. He must have had a thread. But anyway, this beautiful Shudra woman, he was following her home. And in those days, the Brahmins were given all honor and respect. They're very high class in those days. Of course, here's an example of someone who wasn't, but generally the Brahmins are very high class. So he went to the Brahmin's house and he said, they greeted him very nicely. Oh, a Brahmin has come. He said, how can we serve? He said, I want to enjoy your wife. Can you imagine? He was so lusty. The man said, yes, you are a Brahmin, we will serve you in any way we can. You can enjoy with my wife. Here's the bedroom. So he went into the bedroom with the woman, and again he came to his senses. He said, Mataji, give me your hairpin. He took the pin and poked out his eye, and blinded himself, that he would never fall down again. And he became a great, great devotee in Vrindavan as a blind man. But Krishna was coming to him every day. He lived for centuries in Vrindavan. Many centuries he lived as a great transcendentalist. So he had achieved the Baba stage, but he slipped and fell back. But because he had achieved Baba in this previous stage, when again he was able to become quickly to Prema after he got over that lust, you see. After he did whatever it could to get rid of that lust, he was able to come back quickly to the Prema stage because of his previous qualification. Okay. Is Varna and Ashram influences this, or does Varna and Ashram influence the stage of Bhakti? No. Varna Ashram, well, if you strictly follow the principles of Varna Ashram, then you must take up Bhakti. Varna Ashram means for engaging you and regulating you so that your senses become subdued and so you can take up Bhakti. It's not by doing Varna Ashram that you become a pure devotee, but it is a proper basis on which to take up Krishna consciousness. It gives you a platform on which you can peacefully cultivate Krishna consciousness. Can a person be in more than one stage? Well, you can be in a transition between two stages. That you can do. Sometimes we can't see the Lord even when we are standing in front of Him. Why is it so? How to feel that love? Because we're covered by lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy. Actually, the Lord is in front of us right now. Each and every one of us has Krishna right there in front of us right now, this minute. Krishna is in front of each and every one of us, so we can't see Him. Because we're covered by lust, anger, greed, madness, illusion, and envy. So how to feel the love? That's called sadhana bhakti. You engage in devotional service according to the regulated principles, exactly as we have described to you. You have faith, associate with devotees, get initiated, follow the orders of the spiritual master. In this way, that love that you already have within you, which is now buried, will become uncovered and reawakened. Previously you had it, now it's sleeping. All you have to do is awaken it by following the regulated principles of devotional service. How to maintain our enthusiasm in Krishna's service. If you understand what's going on, what the process is, by proper understanding that even though I don't always feel good, if you understand what the goal is, then you'll always keep your enthusiasm. If you understand this process is going to liberate me from all anxiety, it's going to liberate me from birth, death, old age, and disease, and you'll be able to maintain your enthusiasm just on the basis of that understanding. I feel my taste for hearing is reduced. Please tell me how to increase my taste for hearing. Shushrisho Shodadamasya Vasudeva Kataruchi Shanmahatseviya Vipa Punya Sevana Kirtana. This is described in the first canto of the Bhagavatam. By serving those devotees who are completely free from all vice, great service is done. By such service, one gains an affinity for hearing Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. He gets Vasudeva Katha Ruchi. He develops an affinity for hearing the glories of God. So the key is serve the pure devotees. Find devotees who are pure, serve them. That's how you get Ruchi for hearing. Since accepting a guru is so important in spiritual life, what about the Vrajavasis? Most of them are devotees that may not accept a guru. So the Vrajavasis, they are in this very special position. They have taken birth in the holy Dham. They may not require a guru. But we are not in that position. So they are an exception to the principle. If they live a pure life, they will go back to Godhead. Most of them are sinful, to be honest. Prabhupada said they'll become animals in the next birth in Vrindavan, and from their animal body they'll go back to Godhead. So that's a different category. That doesn't apply to us. Also, what about Vritiks who accept Prabhupada as a guru? The acceptance of Prabhupada is not genuine. It is superficial, because they don't follow his instructions. They concoct their own Maya Prabhupada. They invent their own Prabhupada according to their whims. Instead of following what Prabhupada actually said, they follow their own Prabhupada that they invent. So they're not actually following Prabhupada. They're following a Maya Prabhupada that they invented. Prabhupada said that, he told us in May of 1977 in Vrindavan, he told the leaders that after he departs, the devotees would become the new devotees would become disciples of his disciples. So they neglect that instruction. They neglect it. They choose to disobey the orders of Prabhupada. So they are not following Prabhupada. Okay. Nowadays, I have started fault finding. I really want to come out of it. Please advise. No, don't give it up. You just got to direct it towards yourself, Prabhu. Then you'll be in good shape. You should become, everyone here should become a very, very expert fault finder of yourself. Prabhupada said, strict with yourself and lenient with others. So don't give up fault finding, become expert fault finder. How to determine out of Sraddha Prema at what stage one is. Well, that you can ask, well, are you initiated yet? Who's this? Who asked this question? Who asked the question? Huh? Well, this person is not initiated yet, then they're at the sadhu sangha stage. Because they're here in with the sadhus tonight. Whoever asked the question, they want to remain anonymous, that's okay. So if they haven't got initiated yet, they're at the sadhu sangha stage. And if they are initiated, then they're at least at the bhajana kriya stage. And if they become completely free from, almost totally free of all the dirt in their heart, there's not a shadow of doubt in their brains, and they're at the nishta stage. So most of us, to be honest, most of us initiates, to be honest, we're battling it out, and in the earlier stages of anartha nivritti, to be honest. We're battling it out in the early part of anartha nivritti. Most of us would be in that category, you see. Why does our level of faith appear to fluctuate from time to time? Because we're not at the nishta stage. That's why we haven't achieved nishta yet. We're still immature in our Krishna consciousness. It has to do with our association, because by associating with devotees, our faith gets strengthened. We associate with mundane family members, mundane friends, mundane associates at work. Our faith becomes weakened by that association. That's a fact. That's why it's stated, asatsanga tyag. One should give up the association of non-devotees. If you have to associate with non-devotees, You got to keep your own internal, like at work, or sometimes with our family members who aren't devotees. You have to keep your own internal Krishna consciousness very strong. Don't be the follower, be the leader. You have to manifest leadership qualities. And don't let you run after them. They should be coming to you. Not that you're running after them. That they crack some mundane jokes and you have to laugh with everybody else in the office about some mundane joke. You don't have to laugh at a mundane joke. My grandmother told me about her father or grandfather. This goes way back, he was a Civil War veteran in the U.S. Captain Jones. I don't know if it was a father or grandfather, I don't know, but he was a Christian man with very high moral principles. He had some business with so many employees. And the shop talk, all kinds of off-color jokes or whatever. So, but when he would come in, they would be quiet out of respect because Captain Jones is coming. They knew he was a very pious Christian man. They would not speak anything Gramya Katab, nonsense talk when he came. Because they respected him. He was a very high quality, pious man, you see. So, we should be like that, even in the midst of the non-devotees at our office or wherever. We should have a different character. We're birds of a different feather, you see. Because if we have to laugh at their jokes, then that hurts our faith. It hurts our faith. How to be focused in our faith and make it one pointed towards Krishna. Associate with devotees as much as possible, read Prabhupada's books as much as possible, chant Hare Krishna as much as possible, and go deep, deep, deep into mantra meditation every day on those prayer beads. Make it as very, very deep as possible. Go deep, deep, deep. Because the deeper you go into the name, the stronger your faith gets. I feel that I'm falling down from the practice of devotional process. What can I do? I'm chanting 16 rounds regularly. Then, Prabhu or Mataji, you are committing nam-aparad. That's why you feel you're falling down. You have to study the 10 offenses, and you have to carefully avoid all the 10 offenses, and I guarantee you, you won't be falling down anymore. Fall down comes by, especially the first one, being disrespectful to devotees. Look within your heart and see, do I have a respectful attitude towards all Vaishnavas? Even the ones I disagree with. Do I respect them? Do I respect them? So mostly, that's the number one cause of fall down is offense towards Vaishnavas. So learn, and look out for that one especially. And that'll save you. If you have love and respect for all the devotees, even the ones you disagree with, that will help you to turn around. You're slipping and help you now climb up and advance through all the stages to Prema. At the initiation stage, it is very hard to do service with love. The initial stage, initiative, something. We should wait till start loving the service first, or we should do service and love with love. No, you can't jump to love immediately. You have to do it on the basis, if you have the love, great. That means a qualification from previous lifetime. If you have a loving feeling from square one, then you have some really good activities in your previous lives. If it's hard for you in the beginning, well, you just got to be, wherever you're at, you just got to accept it. This is what I got. I've gotten what I've deserved from my previous actions. Wherever I am, let me just start the process, you see. You're starting a business where you may only have $10, or maybe you inherited $1 million, but you start the business with full enthusiasm, with my $10 or my $1 million. You start your business. So no matter what assets you may have, you don't have any feeling of love, or you have some love feeling from previous cultivation in previous lifetimes. Whatever you have, take it as mercy from Krishna and begin the process with determination. You have to. In the beginning, we don't have pure love for Krishna, so you have to act out of duty. You have to follow the order of the spiritual master. In that way, by acting out of duty, the loving feelings will come. The initiating gurus in ISKCON, have they achieved Prema stage? If not, what stage are they? Well, you can't generalize. they're all on the same level, because yes, some of the initiating gurus actually fell down and went back to material life. Obviously they didn't have prema. The GBC doesn't certify that these men have prema. They just say, this person, so far as we can see, is not breaking the principles. They're preaching according to Prabhupada's teachings. They're cooperating with the Prabhupada system. And therefore we say we have no objection if they take up acting as a spiritual master. That's the approval process. Now, where a particular guru is, well, I can ask him, Guru Maharaj, have you achieved prema? The sadhu may say, Guru Maharaj, do you have prema? One may ask. He said, but we ask Prabhupada anything, intimate question about his inner realization of Krishna, you know what he would say? He would say, that you do not require. And then someone would say that, then the advice disciple would try to ask him a different angle to get it out of Prabhupada. He'd say, that you do not require. Actually, you know what Prabhupada said? He said, I am not perfect, but I am representing the perfect. That is my perfection. So those who actually achieve perfection, they don't advertise. They advertise themselves as a neophyte devotee. Those who achieve perfection, they don't say, okay, Prabhus, I'm on the Prema stage. They don't do that. What does Rupa Goswami say? Na Prema Shauradi Bhaktira Piva Yoga Vaishnava Jnanam Va Shubhakarma Vakila Sad Japtara Vyastiva Kanarata Dikasadakaitvai Tatapyat Shejam Malasati He Gopi Jana Balava Vyara Hate Yaha Madashaivam. Na Prema, what does that mean? No Prema. He says, I do not have, I do not have love of Krishna. Na Prema. Na Prema Shravanadi Bhaktir, I don't have even a taste for hearing and chanting, he says. That's how Rupa Goswami, he was actually one of the gopis from Krishna Loka. He's Rupa Manjari, one of the intimate gopi associates of Radharani. He has appeared as Rupa Goswami, and he says, I have no love for Krishna. That's how he presents himself. He's Rupa Manjari, one of the intimate gopi associates of Radharani, appearing as Rupa Goswami. He says, I have no love for Krishna. Lord Chaitanya also said, I have no love for Krishna. He said, the proof is, if I had any love for Krishna, I would die immediately in his separation. The fact that I'm maintaining body and soul together proves I have absolutely no love for Krishna. So if you want to ask the Guru, he has Prema, and he says, yes, you better run as fast as you can to get away. He's bogus. A bona fide spiritual master and says, oh yes, I have Prema. You come to my room. Well, watch out. So you really have to, if you want to know what level your Guru is on, or any of the Gurus, study the books and then study the Guru. That's all I can say. Study the books and study the Guru. And the more you realize, the more you'll be able to realize what level somebody else is on. Why does it happen at something? At time, okay. Why does it happen at time that simply by looking at some deities we start crying? Is it normal? It's very nice. This is a little sample. It's a little sneak preview of Bhava, you see. Not that I have the Bhava stage if I'm crying, but I'm getting a little sample of Bhava, spiritual emotion. It's very nice. If one sees a deity and he cries, that's very nice, it's very nice. Or hears the kirtan and cries, or goes to the holy dham and cries. It's a little sneak preview of what's lying ahead. So take it as special mercy if you cry when you see the deities. Special mercy. Prabhupada said that crying in the kirtan is not ordinary crying, it's crying of the soul. Could you please explain about the concept of Vraj Guru? Well, This is one of those things coming from the Sahajiyas. That I need a guru a Vraj guru who can flip the switch to turn on my rasa. You see. Actually, any bona fide spiritual master is a Vraj guru. He's an eternal resident of Vrindavan. But any spiritual master, but he presents himself externally as a neophyte devotee. I'm thinking, well, I need a Vraj guru, someone who lives in Vraj, who grows their hairs out with a big beard, you see. Actually, some devotees do that. They grow the big beard. Now I'm a Vraj. I'm a Rasika, you see. Some of our devotees grow out the big beards, but Prabhupada actually said, Prabhupada didn't want the beards. He said, no beards. In his purport in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, on Madhya Lila, chapter 20, text 70, he said, Lord Chaitanya objected to beard and hair, long hair. He had Sanatana Goswami shaved up. Prabhupada points out, Advaita Acharya, he couldn't say anything about his beard because he was senior Vaishnava, like a father to Lord Chaitanya. But actually Lord Chaitanya was against beards. Prabhupada is against the beard. So someone thinks, yes, I am Vraj Guru, I have my beard, I am Rasik, you see. This is Sahajiyism. To want to imitate some person who's beyond the rules and regulations. The Prabhupada said not to keep the beard, so now I'm a Vraj Guru beyond the rules and regulations, so I can keep big hairs on the face. We should be aware of such a person. It's not Prabhupada's system to keep hairs on the face. Prabhupada didn't keep the hairs on the face. He told us not to keep the hairs on the face. One disciple argued, because he would have giving a mustache. He said, Prabhupada, you've had a mustache when you were a householder? Prabhupada said, that was before my diksha. Prabhupada didn't like devotees keeping a mustache and using Prabhupada as an argument. And you had a mustache, that was before my diksha. So diksha means no mustache, no beard, no goatee. You see. Not that I have big beard, now I'm Vraj Guru with my big beard. You see. Sahajism. Someone say, well, I need a guru who can tell me who I am in Vraj. That's not what Prabhupada taught us. You don't need to have a particular guru who tells you who you are in Vraj. Prabhupada explains, you can see it, I have the quote, exact quote from a letter to Satsarupa. Prabhupada says that by simply becoming free of all material desires, just by becoming fixed up in Krishna consciousness, then automatically who you are in Krishna's pastimes, that all be revealed to you. It comes automatically. You don't need a Vraj Guru to tell you you're a peacock, or you're a gopi, you're a flute, you're a butterfly. You don't need a Vraj Guru to tell you what your rasa is. All you have to do is become completely pure, and then automatically you will understand who I am in Krishna's pastimes. If someone says, you need a Vraj Guru, come over here to Narayan Maharaj or one of his disciples, they are all Mahabhagavats, and they are Vraj Gurus, they will tell you what is your rasa. In ISKCON, there's no one who will tell you what your rasa is. You come to Narayan Maharaj's movement and we'll tell you what your rasa is. We will give you a Vraj Guru who can tell you which gopi you are. Stay away from such nonsense. Such instructions are against Prabhupada's teachings. We have to follow. Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains in the Harinam Chintamani that anyone who instructs against the teachings of the founder Acharya, those teachings are rejected. They're automatically rejected as bogus. We follow Prabhupada's teachings. Prabhupada is our Vraj Guru. Simply by following Srila Prabhupada's instructions without any deviation, following the instructions in Prabhupada's books, you will one day realize who you are in Krishna's pastimes. You don't need some special Vraj Guru. Prabhupada is your Vraj Guru. Your initiating spiritual master is your Vraj Guru, because he's purely representing Prabhupada. Is it possible to reach Prema in one lifetime? Obviously you weren't in the class this morning, you asked this question. Because Prabhupada explains, even in the existing duration of life, you can achieve pure bhakti. You don't have to wait to leave your body. Even while you're in this present body, you can achieve prema. And Prabhupada told me that even while in this body, he told me, now you just qualify yourself to see Krishna face to face. That is one of the symptoms of prema, where you can directly see God in front of you. That's one of the symptoms of prema. Hare Krishna Maharaj, you said we should be respectful to other devotees. When you give a smile to the other devotees, they don't smile back, and it happens repeatedly. How should you behave with them? Well, you can respect them without smiling at them. Obviously. Why waste a smile if no one's going to reciprocate? At least you can think, well, he may not be smiling, but he's chanting Hare Krishna. I respect him for that. Sometimes we can't see the Lord even when we are standing in front of him. Oh, I already answered this one. Okay, the questions are up. We're over time. So I have more nectar from our great acharyas, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and Srila Prabhupada. I have more nectar about these wonderful stages of Sraddha Prema that will be going in even deeper tomorrow night. Same time, same place, same Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.